Itimas so fast I scar. Timos powerful audio for our manifestation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a moment that could quietly and yet powerfully change the way you experience reality itself. You did not arrive here by accident. Something inside you was drawn to these words because you are ready for more than hoping, more than wishing, and more than waiting. You are ready for a shift in how you see yourself, how you feel about your life, and how you understand the invisible forces that shape every event, opportunity, and breakthrough that enters your world. All of us, at some point, have felt that strange frustration of knowing there must be something more. More abundance, more love, more peace, more success. Yet for so long, we were taught that these things are earned only through struggle, sacrifice, and endless effort. We were told that life is hard, that dreams take years, and that miracles are rare. But deep inside, there has always been a quiet voice whispering, what if that isn't true? What if it could be easier? What if it could be faster? Tonight, we are here to explore exactly that possibility. We are here to uncover the truth that your mind is not just a place where thoughts happen, it is a creative instrument. Every experience you have ever had, whether beautiful or painful, began as an inner state before it ever showed up on the outside. Long before something appeared in your life, it was accepted, felt, and believed within you. And when that inner acceptance was strong enough, reality had no choice but to follow. Think about the times when things seemed to fall into place effortlessly. When a phone call came at just the right moment. When a door opened that you never even knocked on. When something you barely tried for suddenly arrived. Those moments were not luck. They were alignment. They were proof that when your inner world is set in the right direction, the outer world rearranges itself without force. This is why what you are about to hear is not just another motivational talk. This is not about trying harder, pushing more, or fighting against circumstances. This is about learning how to move into a state where things begin to move for you, where opportunities seek you out, where answers arrive before you even finish the question, where manifestation stops feeling slow and starts feeling natural. The audio you are about to experience has been designed to work at the deepest level of your awareness. It speaks to the part of you that creates habits, emotions, beliefs, and expectations. It gently but powerfully trains you to live from the inside out, to feel as though what you desire is already yours. And when that feeling becomes familiar, when it becomes normal, reality must follow it, just as a shadow follows a body. You don't need to strain. You don't need to beg. You don't need to convince the world. You only need to let a new inner story take root. A story in which you are supported. A story in which things work out for you. A story in which what you desire arrives with surprising speed and ease. So as you listen, allow yourself to relax. Let go of the old doubts, the old disappointments, and the old rules that said it had to be hard. You are stepping into a different way of being now, one where manifestation is not a struggle, but a natural response to who you have decided to become. The moment you accept something as done, a powerful and irreversible shift takes place inside you. This shift is not emotional excitement, not wishful thinking, and not blind optimism. It is a quiet, deep inner decision that says, this is mine now. And when that decision is made at the level of your inner identity, the outer world is forced to reorganize itself around it. This is not poetry. This is how reality operates. Most people think manifestation happens when they finally get what they want. In truth, manifestation happens the moment they stop wanting. Wanting implies separation. Wanting means you are aware of not having. And whatever you are aware of, you continue to experience. But when you accept something as already accomplished, something extraordinary happens, the wanting collapses. You no longer chase. You no longer hope. You simply know. And knowing is a creative force. The mind was designed to reflect assumptions, not effort. You can work endlessly, affirm endlessly, visualize endlessly, and still see nothing change if deep down you are assuming it is not done yet. But when you reach the point where you inwardly agree that it is finished, even if nothing on the outside has changed, the invisible mechanics of reality begin moving instantly. Life becomes a series of coincidences, delays dissolve, people change, circumstances rearrange, and pathways open, all without you forcing anything. This is why acceptance is the true trigger. Not affirmations, not techniques, not emotional hype. Acceptance. When you accept something as done, you are no longer trying to get it. You are living from it. And the world must match the state you are living from. Reality is not responding to what you want. It is responding to who you are being. This is why two people can say the same words and get opposite results. One person says, I am successful, while secretly feeling like they are still struggling. Another person says nothing at all but internally feels settled, confident, and certain. The second person manifests, not because of words, but because of identity. Identity is the key. The moment you accept something as done, you step into the identity of the one who has it. And when identity changes, behavior, perception, and even chance itself must change. You begin to notice opportunities you used to ignore. You begin to speak differently. You walk differently. You tolerate less. You expect more. People feel something different about you. Doors open. And all of this happens without effort, because effort belongs to the one who is trying to become, not the one who already is. Acceptance removes resistance. Resistance is what slows everything down. Resistance is not doubt. Resistance is inner conflict. It is the part of you that keeps checking reality to see if it worked. It is the part of you that keeps wondering how it will happen. But when you accept something as done, you stop checking. You stop wondering. You simply proceed with your life as the version of yourself who already received it. This is where speed comes from. Time is not something outside of you. Time is a reflection of inner certainty. The more uncertain you are, the longer things seem to take. The more settled you are, the faster things move. When something feels inevitable inside you, it becomes inevitable outside of you. Think of how fast things move when you know something is guaranteed. If you ordered something online and you fully trust it will arrive, you don't think about it. You don't obsess. You don't keep refreshing the tracking page every minute. You go about your life, and it arrives. But when you doubt it will come, every hour feels long, every delay feels heavy, and the process feels slow and painful. Reality hasn't changed, your inner relationship to it has. This is exactly how manifestation works. The moment you accept it as done, it feels like it is already on its way. You relax, you stop interfering, you stop trying to control how it will happen. And that relaxation is what allows things to move rapidly and smoothly into your experience. People often ask, how do I know when I've truly accepted it? You know because you stop feeling the emotional charge around it. It no longer feels urgent. It no longer feels like something you need to chase. It feels settled, calm, certain, almost boring. That is the state where things happen. The universe does not respond to desperation. It responds to alignment. And alignment happens when your inner state matches the state of the one who already has. This is why visualization works when it works, not because of the images, but because of the shift in identity. For a moment, you stop being the one who wants and become the one who has. And in that moment, reality begins rearranging. But most people visualize and then immediately fall back into wanting. They open their eyes and check their life. They look for proof. They wonder when it will come. That collapses the acceptance. And without acceptance, the shift never completes. You must remain in the knowing, not by force, not by pretending, but by familiarity. You return to the feeling of it being done until it becomes natural, until it feels normal, until your nervous system recognizes it as your new baseline. Once that happens, the outer world has no option but to follow. This is why some people manifest quickly and others don't. It is not because they are more spiritual. It is because they are more settled inside. They don't argue with their desires. They don't fight with themselves. They don't oscillate between belief and doubt. They quietly accept. And acceptance is the most powerful command you can give to reality. You do not need to convince the universe. You only need to agree with yourself. The moment you say internally, this is my life now, something profound happens. You stop broadcasting need. You start broadcasting expectation. And expectation is magnetic. The world begins to treat you as the person you have accepted yourself to be. People speak to you differently. Opportunities find you. Ideas come to you. Timing shifts. All of it because you changed your inner agreement. This is what it means when it is said that reality is a mirror. It is not reflecting your desires, it is reflecting your assumptions. When you assume it is done, it must be shown to you. There is nothing to wait for. Waiting is the habit of the old identity. The new identity moves forward as though it is already secured. That is why things move so fast when you finally stop trying and start accepting. Not because something magical suddenly happened outside of you, but because something final happened inside of you. And once that happens, the world has no choice but to catch up. Your subconscious mind is not a thinker, it is a builder. It does not reason, debate, or analyze. It simply accepts whatever is impressed upon it and turns that impression into physical experience. This is why your life today looks the way it does. Not because of luck, not because of other people, and not because of circumstances, but because of the ideas that have been quietly planted in the deepest level of your awareness over time. Every habit you have, every emotional reaction, every expectation you carry, and every pattern that keeps repeating in your life is the result of subconscious programming. You did not choose most of it, you absorbed it. From childhood, from society, from past disappointments, from what you heard, what you saw, and what you felt repeatedly. And once something sinks into the subconscious, it becomes law. It operates automatically, without effort, without your conscious permission. This is why trying to change your life by willpower alone feels exhausting. Willpower belongs to the conscious mind, but the subconscious runs the show. You can consciously decide to be confident, successful, disciplined, or abundant, but if your subconscious has accepted a different story, it will override you every time. You will fall back into old patterns, old reactions, and old results, no matter how hard you try. This is where real manifestation begins, not with forcing change, but with installing a new inner program. The subconscious does not understand logic. It understands repetition, emotion, and imagery. Whatever is felt and repeated enough becomes truth to it. And once something becomes truth inside, it must become fact outside. This is why a single powerful inner realization can change your life, and why a single deeply emotional experience can reshape your future. The subconscious is always listening, always recording, always obeying. This is also why audio is so powerful. When you listen, you bypass resistance. You are not arguing, you are not analyzing, you are receiving. The voice goes straight into the subconscious and begins planting new assumptions, new expectations, new identity. And if what you hear is aligned with what you want to experience, your subconscious accepts it as reality. Think about how easily a song can change your mood, how a movie can make you cry, feel brave, or fall in love. None of that happens because you consciously decide to feel something. It happens because the subconscious responds instantly to suggestion. It does not ask, is this real? It feels it, and therefore it is real to the mind. Your subconscious cannot tell the difference between something vividly imagined and something physically happening. It reacts to both the same way. That is why people can feel fear during a movie, even though they know it is not real. The body responds because the subconscious believes what it is experiencing. This is the secret behind fast manifestation. When you repeatedly hear messages that say you are chosen, you are supported, you are abundant, you are loved, and you always get what you desire, those ideas begin to sink below conscious awareness. They become the new normal. And once they are normal inside, the outside must follow. You do not have to fight old beliefs. You simply overwrite them. Just like a computer, the subconscious runs whatever program is installed. You don't argue with old code, you replace it. And audio does exactly that. It replaces the story that says things are hard with the story that says things work out. It replaces the identity of struggle with the identity of certainty. At first, you may not feel anything dramatic. That is because the conscious mind is still active. But beneath the surface, something is happening. New neural pathways are forming. New emotional reactions are being rehearsed. New assumptions are taking root. And one day you notice that you are thinking differently, reacting differently, expecting differently. Things that used to bother you no longer do. Things that used to feel impossible start to feel normal. That is the subconscious changing. Once the subconscious changes, reality must change. People often wonder why some affirmations work and others don't. It is not the words, it is the level of mind they reach. When something stays in the conscious mind, it feels like pretending. When it reaches the subconscious, it feels like truth. And truth is what creates. This is why hearing something repeatedly is more powerful than saying it once. Repetition lowers resistance. Over time, the subconscious stops questioning and simply accepts. And once it accepts, it begins to express. You start to act as though things will work out. You make different choices. You walk into rooms with different energy. You attract different people. You see different opportunities. Not because you forced anything, but because your subconscious is now operating from a different blueprint. This is also why negative self-talk is so destructive. Every time you say, nothing ever works for me, or I always get unlucky, or I can't have what I want, you are programming your subconscious. and it will obediently reflect that back to you. But when you replace those messages with new ones, when you feed your subconscious a different story, it has no choice but to create a different life. The most powerful thing you can do is choose what you allow into your inner world. When you listen to words that affirm your power, your worth, and your ability to receive, you are not just listening, you are reprogramming. You are installing a new identity. You are telling your subconscious, this is who I am now. And the subconscious always responds with, so be it. This is why the audio works so fast. It does not try to convince the logical mind. It speaks directly to the part of you that creates reality. It repeats, it soothes, it suggests, and over time, it reshapes what you believe is possible. And once possibility changes, experience must follow. You do not have to figure out how things will happen. Your subconscious will handle that. You do not have to chase opportunities. Your subconscious will guide you to them. You do not have to manipulate people. Your subconscious will influence how they respond to you. All you have to do is let the new story sink in. When the subconscious accepts abundance, you live in abundance. When it accepts love, you experience love. When it accepts success, you become successful. Not because you forced anything, but because you changed the inner cause. And once the cause changes, the effect has no choice but to follow. Feeling is not something that happens after manifestation. It is what makes manifestation happen. It is the invisible command you are constantly sending into reality. Every emotion you allow to live inside you is an instruction. Every mood is a signal. Every inner reaction is a creative force. You are not creating with words or thoughts alone. You are creating with the emotional state that sits underneath them. This is why two people can think the same thought and experience completely different results. One thinks, I am successful, while feeling tense, doubtful, and insecure. The other thinks nothing at all, but feels calm, confident, and certain. The second person will always manifest more, because feeling is what reality responds to. Feeling is the language of the universe. The universe does not speak English. It does not respond to affirmations, vision boards, or techniques. It responds to the emotional state you are living in. That state tells it what to give you. When you live in frustration, you receive situations that justify frustration. When you live in gratitude, you receive experiences that justify gratitude. When you live in certainty, you receive outcomes that prove it. This is why forced positivity does not work. Saying, I'm happy, while feeling anxious sends the signal of anxiety. Saying, I'm abundant, while feeling lack sends the signal of lack. The universe is not fooled by words, it only hears emotion. The secret is not to fake a feeling, but to enter it. You do not need to jump into joy. You need to settle into the feeling of it being done. Relief, calm, satisfaction, quiet knowing. That is the emotional signature of someone who already has what they want. And that is the signal that creates. Think of the difference between wanting something and having something. Wanting feels restless. Having feels settled. Wanting feels tight. Having feels relaxed. Wanting feels heavy. Having feels light. That relaxed satisfaction is what you must live in. This is why people manifest things when they finally stop caring so much. They don't stop wanting, they stop gripping. They stop needing it to happen. They emotionally let go. And in that letting go, the feeling changes. They move from tension into allowance. And allowance is powerful. The moment your body feels like, it's okay, it's already mine, the universe receives the signal and begins moving. Feeling is not about excitement. Excitement is unstable. Feeling is about familiarity. It is about emotional normalcy. When something feels normal inside, it becomes normal outside. This is why imagining something once does very little. But imagining it until it feels natural changes everything. When the idea of having what you want stops feeling like a fantasy and starts feeling like your life, the shift has occurred. Reality always reflects what feels natural to you. If love feels foreign, you will push it away. If money feels unsafe, you will block it. If success feels uncomfortable, you will sabotage it. But when these things feel familiar inside, they come easily. This is why your emotional self-concept is more important than your goals. It is not about what you want, it is about who you feel like you are. A person who feels chosen will be chosen. A person who feels lucky will be lucky. A person who feels supported will be supported. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are emotionally aligned with. This is why shifting your feeling is the fastest way to shift your life. You do not need to wait for evidence to feel good. You feel good to create the evidence. You do not wait to feel confident until you succeed. You feel confident to cause success. Feeling always comes first. And this is where most people get stuck. They keep checking reality to decide how they should feel. If something goes wrong, they feel bad. If something goes right, they feel good. That means they are living as a reaction, not a creator. A creator chooses their feeling first. They decide, I am calm, I am supported, I am favored. And they live in that feeling even before anything changes. That emotional decision becomes the blueprint that reality must follow. This is why your inner world is more important than your outer world. The outer world is just a delayed reflection of how you have been feeling. When you change your feeling, you change your future. This does not mean suppressing negative emotions. It means not living in them. You acknowledge what you feel, then you gently guide yourself back to the emotional state of the one who has what they want. That state is not desperate. It is not intense. It is quietly certain. It is the feeling of someone who knows things always work out for them. When you hold that feeling, you are commanding reality. And reality has no choice but to obey. This is why the audio works. It guides you into a feeling. It does not just give you words, it gives you an emotional environment. When you listen, your nervous system relaxes. Your mind opens. Your body begins to feel safe, supported, and certain. And that feeling is the seed. Once that feeling becomes familiar, it becomes your default. And once it is your default, your entire life begins to reorganize around it. Opportunities feel easier to accept. Good news feels normal. Unexpected blessings stop feeling surprising. Because inside you already knew they were coming. This is what it means to live from the wish fulfilled. Not pretending, not forcing, but feeling like it is already part of your life. And once it feels that way, it is only a matter of time before it appears. Not because you are lucky, but because you finally spoke the language the universe understands. The moment you become something inside, you no longer need to chase it outside. Chasing is always a confession of not having. Pursuing is always a statement of lack. But becoming is a declaration of ownership. When you shift your inner identity, the outer world is forced to reflect that shift without effort. This is the hidden reason why some people seem to attract everything, while others are always trying. One group is living from who they are. The other is living from who they want to be. Identity is the root of all manifestation. You can want money, love, success, and recognition, but if your self-concept is still the one who struggles, who waits, who hopes, and who doubts, reality will continue to mirror that version of you. But the instant you change who you believe you are, everything else must follow. You do not get what you desire, you get what you are. This is why effort feels exhausting. Effort is the energy of someone who is trying to change their future. Alignment is the energy of someone who is already living in it. When you are aligned with a new identity, actions happen naturally. Words change. Posture changes. Decisions change. Even the way you are treated changes. And it all begins without conscious force. When you wake up as someone who already has what they want, you do not beg life to give it to you. You move as though it belongs to you. And life responds accordingly. This is what it means to live from the end. You are not waiting for evidence to decide who you are. You decide who you are, and evidence rushes in to support it. This is why people who suddenly believe in themselves begin receiving opportunities they never had before. Nothing external changed, their inner posture did. They stopped seeing themselves as the one who hopes and started seeing themselves as the one who expects. Expectation is powerful. When you expect good things, you unconsciously prepare for them. You speak differently. You show up differently. You notice chances you used to miss. You allow things you used to reject. And that subtle shift creates massive changes. The outer world always treats you the way you treat yourself. If you see yourself as valuable, others respond to your value. If you see yourself as lucky, life gives you luck. If you see yourself as chosen, situations line up in your favor. But if you see yourself as someone who has to struggle, struggle becomes your reality. This is why affirmations work when they work. Not because of the words, but because they temporarily move you into a new identity. But if you say words while still emotionally living as the old version of yourself, nothing changes. You must feel like the new you. This does not mean pretending. It means deciding. You decide, I am the one who gets what they want. You decide, I am the one things work out for. You decide, I am the one who is supported by life. And you carry that decision into how you think, how you speak, how you react. The world responds not to your desires, but to your self-image. This is why some people sabotage good things. They do not feel like someone who gets to have them. Their identity does not match the opportunity, so they unconsciously push it away. But when your identity is aligned, you allow more. You accept more. You receive more. You do not chase love when you feel lovable. You do not chase money when you feel abundant. You do not chase respect when you feel worthy. It all comes to you. This is why the audio shifts identity, not circumstances. Circumstances are only the echo. Identity is the voice. When you repeatedly hear messages that reinforce a powerful self-image, your subconscious begins to accept it. And when it accepts it, you begin to live from it. That is when the magic happens. You walk into rooms differently. You speak with confidence instead of hesitation. You stop settling for less. You expect things to work out. And the universe treats you accordingly. This is also why people say things started changing. For no reason. There was a reason. They changed who they were inside. You do not need to force the future. You need to embody it. When you feel like the person who already has what you want, you naturally make choices that lead to it. You naturally attract people who match it. You naturally move toward opportunities that support it. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. The old identity says, I'll believe it when I see it. The new identity says, I'll see it because I believe it. One is waiting. The other is expecting. And expectation is what creates speed. When you expect something, you do not feel desperate. You feel ready. You do not feel anxious. You feel prepared. You are not hoping, you are allowing. This is why things begin to show up suddenly, because you finally made room for them. You did not change the world. You changed yourself. And when you change yourself, the world has no choice but to change with you. This is the power of becoming. Not trying, not chasing, not forcing, just being. Once you are it inside, you will see it outside, every time. Because reality always reflects identity. Persistence is not about forcing the universe to give you what you want. It is about refusing to let your inner reality collapse back into the old story. Most people give up not because manifestation does not work, but because they stop holding the assumption that it is already done. They return to checking, doubting, worrying, and reacting, and when that happens, the new reality dissolves before it ever has a chance to fully appear. The outer world is slow compared to the inner world. There is always a delay between when something becomes true inside you and when it becomes visible around you. That delay is not a punishment, it is a bridge. And persistence is how you walk across it. When you assume something is done, you plant a seed. But seeds do not become trees overnight. They need to be protected, watered, and left undisturbed. If you dig up a seed every day to see if it is growing, you kill it. In the same way, when you keep checking reality for proof, you are pulling up your own assumption. Persistence means leaving the seed alone. It means returning to the inner knowing again and again, even when nothing outside seems to support it yet. Not with tension, not with anxiety, but with quiet certainty. This is where most people misunderstand faith. They think it means hoping really hard. It does not. Faith is living as though the outcome is already settled. It is emotional agreement with the future before it arrives. The moment you truly assume something is done, you feel different. You stop begging, you stop bleeding, you stop obsessing. You feel like someone who already knows the ending of the story. But then the world tests that assumption. You might see delays, you might hear no, you might experience silence. This is not failure. This is the echo of your old story fading out. Reality is always playing catch up. The new state has been chosen, but the old momentum is still unwinding. Persistence is what keeps you from going back to the old state. Every time you feel discouraged and choose to return to your assumption, you are strengthening it. Every time you resist reacting to appearances and instead remain in the feeling of it being done, you are telling your subconscious, this is who I am now. And the subconscious always listens to consistency. This is why repetition matters. Not because you are trying to convince the universe, but because you are stabilizing your new identity. The more you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the more natural it becomes. And when it becomes natural, it becomes unstoppable. This is also why people suddenly manifest things when they least expect it. They did not stop wanting, they stopped wavering. Their inner state became steady. They were no longer switching between belief and doubt. They were simply being the one who knows. Doubt is not your enemy. Inconsistency is. You can have moments of fear and still manifest. You can have moments of sadness and still create. What matters is what you come back to. Your dominant assumption is what wins. If most of the time you live in the feeling of, it's already done, then that is what reality must show you. Persistence is not about perfect positivity. It is about returning. Returning to the inner story you chose. Returning to the feeling of certainty. Returning to the identity of the one who has. You do not need to fight negative thoughts. You simply do not agree with them. You let them pass, and you return to your assumption. That return is powerful. Every time you return, you are telling your subconscious that the new reality is more important than the old one, and the subconscious will eventually let go of the old and fully embrace the new. When that happens, things move fast. Suddenly people change. Suddenly circumstances shift. Suddenly doors open. Not because something magical happened in the world, but because something final happened inside you. This is why giving up is the only thing that can stop manifestation. Not because the universe is withholding, but because you stopped holding the new state. As long as you remain in the assumption, the outcome is inevitable. You do not need to know when it will happen. Knowing that it will happen is enough. You do not need to know how it will happen. Allowing it to happen is enough. Time bends to certainty. The more certain you are, the faster things move. The more you waver, the longer it feels. This is why persistence feels like patience, but it is really alignment. You are aligning with the version of yourself who already has what they want. And alignment always produces results. When you persist, you stop being emotionally available to disappointment. You are no longer living in maybe. You are living in off course. And off course is a powerful state. Of course it worked. Of course it happened. Of course it came to me. When that becomes your inner dialogue, the outer world has no choice but to agree. This is why the audio is meant to be listened to repeatedly. Not to force anything, but to stabilize your assumption. Each time you listen, you are returning to the feeling. Each time you return, the new state becomes stronger. Eventually, the old story collapses. And when it does, the new one appears. Not because you chased it, not because you struggled, but because you stayed in who you decided to be. And who you decide to be is always what you become.